where do you come from?
You're listening to Ladies Night on the Provoke Inspire podcast.
Ladies Night. Ladies Night.
During the day.
Well, I think there was supposed to be music. So that was this really creepy, silent
only four
introduction.
People are watching anyway, so.
All right, but I don't think there's music, obviously. So if I do it again, hey, all 6 of you. Well, no, I don't think we can do it again. That was really creepy. Well,
there was music.
There was?
You heard music?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, well, maybe it was just on our end. Welcome.
I didn't hear any music, so it was
Welcome.
special.
Welcome to the Provoke and Inspire podcast. It's Ladies Night. Just in case there was no music, there's the music.
Oh, no.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We have been doing this every week during this crazy global crisis. We've been bringing in some true wisdom, some real joy, where the guys just bring banter, laughter, and such. So welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to you.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Ben.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no. Our
You
camera's
lost
gone
focus.
fuzzy. Our camera's gone fuzzy. It's all right. We're going to switch on the fly here. Nothing wrong with a little technical problems, right? We can handle it. Right, Courtney?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. So the Provoke and Inspire podcast. This is Ladies Night during the day. We hope you enjoy this conversation. We got a lot in store for you. But before we get going on that, just a reminder, you can listen to all the episodes that we've been doing. We're going Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every single week. We've had some great guests on. We had a guest on Monday. His name was Mark Spencer. We talked about relationships and marriage. I think that was really, really valuable. Courtney and I have benefited greatly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things have just gone to a new level since that podcast. So go ahead and
I
check.
didn't listen to it. Sorry.
Oh wow! Well, I don't know what this. I don't know what the secret is then. Anyways, so check that podcast out. On Wednesday we had Shane Claiborne, and he's always amazing.
Yep.
Really, every time I listen to him, I'm like, it just inspires me to live a life that would embody Jesus every day in all situations. We can
Yeah.
become so compartmentalized in the way that we think and the way our life and faith lives itself out. Shane is a great inspiration. And then today is Ladies Night. So this is going to be a great week. Go back, type in Provoke and Inspire on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. Heck, you can Google it. We don't care. Just listen back, give it a share, give it a like, spread the love, right?
Right.
All right. Well, with no further interruptions, and I can tell that Jodi's nervous, we have Jodi's.
It's true. It is very true. But all right, here I go. A long time ago, David and I went to Siberia, and we were speaking there, and we went to a prison. That was incredible.
Sorry,
But then
Isaac and many other people were saying, there was music. Read the
Exactly.
comments, you dingus.
Yes,
Courtney and
there
I
was.
just sat here in awkward
was like-
silence. But thank you,
I-
Isaac.
Yes, I thought the same. I mean, I
Sorry,
heard it.
carry on.
Okay, so then here we're in Siberia, and we were in a church, and David had been asked to speak. So he went up on the stage, and they asked me to come up on the stage as well. And so he went into this pulpit thing, and I'm just not used to this. I didn't grow up with this, but he went into a little box, and then they shut the door, and then that's where he speaks from. So he was about to speak, but the pastor said, wait. I want you to do something. I want you to sing. Just sing a song. And he just went, I could just imagine, my heart stopped, and I'm sure his stopped even quicker.
I don't
You know,
want to
and-
be a missionary. Guys.
Exactly. I heard this small little voice. I don't want, yeah. So I could hear his mind racing. What should I do? And he was saying to the pastor, but I don't know. I don't know I don't have any music. I don't know what song to sing. And the pastor said, no, it's okay. Our organist over there, she will play. She will follow you no matter what. And so we both looked over there, and there's this sweet 90-year-old, I think roughly right around there, woman that was playing the organist, and she was just saying, yes, I can do this. And so then David, I was just behind him. I was just going, don't do it. Don't do it.
And he
Don't."
always does it. He always does it.
Really, I know. I just said, please, just talk out of it. Talk your way out of it. But no. And so he started singing. He started singing Amazing Grace.
Oh, no.
Really. And so I just said, I just so felt for him. And I was just going, I am not getting up there and helping him because I have no idea. We don't need 3 people going in 3 different directions. And then the organist, she was just going along in a whole different song. So that's what it was. And I just thought, oh man.
Not even a heart song.
I know.
Sorry, carry on.
And that's kind of what it was, you know.
Oh, no.
And I looked at the pastor. I thought, oh no, this pastor's gonna just not be happy. But actually, I thought I saw a little, tear in his eye.
But maybe it was kind of like, oh, isn't he special?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You know what I'm
Very
saying?
sweet.
I do know
probably.
what you mean. But I just kept I even whispered, don't do it. So, but he went on, and it was the most awkward thing, and I just felt so bad, and I was so glad that it ended. And here's my moral to that story:
Go on.
David needs to listen to me.
Yeah, well, duh. Oddly enough, hold on, let me give the Jodi's. That history repeated itself, as you remember. And Ania, I think you might have been there as well when we were at that wedding in northern Iraq, and
Yes.
they said, you're a band? You should get up here and perform a song at this wedding. So we're at this big festive, like Kurdish wedding, hundreds of people. And David, Krista, and Nate Bearhausen go up and they play Cold as Buddha, a really old, no longer music song. And it was terrible. And it was the exact same thing where I was like, Dad, don't do it. Don't do it. Like you're like that teenager and your dad's like, I'm going to get up and dance for the kids. The kids are going to love my dance. And I was
Why
like,
is he a hillbilly?
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I just think it's appropriate. Anyway, so in embarrassment of our, mutual family member aside, I think that's a valuable lesson that we can all learn from as men. Listen to our wives. They know what they're talking about.
That's true.
Oh, man. The embarrassment of that moment in northern Iraq still hurts me. When you think back on a moment, you still feel embarrassed. You're like even thinking as if the memory still has embarrassment to it. That one embarrasses me still. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to get serious for a moment. But I liked your story. It had flow. It had an arc to it. It had structure. I don't know, guys. I think the people should let us know. And by the way, comment, please throw your comments in. Somebody wants to know. I saw who is the lady with the black beanie.
It's actually green.
Yeah, it's green. Thank you very much. Green. Hello. Anyway.
Or no?
No. George Q. Regular listen.
Okay.
Peace. Anyway, okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We've had great episodes every week. You guys have been amazing in the wisdom that God has allowed you to bring. This is an ongoing, unfolding process as we all learn to deal with this crisis. And it's weird, right? Like every day you wake up and you go, here I still am. It's like Groundhog's Day minus the toaster and the laughs. And
The toaster.
yeah, that's actually a really morbid part of it where
Anyway,
never mind. Some of you will know. You can comment. Anyway, so Courtney asked me to reference 1 Peter 3:15, which I think is a very great and fitting verse for a time like this. And it says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have, but do so with gentleness and respect. Now, I had to paraphrase because of a word limit. Those on Twitter will know what I had to deal with. But this is about hope. And hope is something that everybody needs right now. And so, Ania, from what I understand, you kind of have something on your heart related to hope and how we can have it at a time when it's pretty hard to feel very hopeful about the future.
Yeah, I think that the topic of the hope, it's just very it's strong in my heart, in my mind all the time, because a lot of people calls me. Like today I had a lot of people calling me saying that they are just basically terrified. In Poland we just put a really strong lockdown, This is, I think, the strongest so far, and we can't leave houses. We can go only if we have a dog. If we are lucky to have a dog, we can go with a dog. I know that in many countries it's like that, but for us, it's for the first time. And one day I went outside to go to our neighbor. She's a lovely lady that she lives by herself, and we were giving her a letter the whole lockdown and all of just the whole craziness of coronavirus. And she answered us the message, and she said, "Thank you so much for your lovely letter. For the moment, I am fine, but if I will need your help, I will, of course, send you a message or something." And Sarah decided to paint her the picture, and she was really excited, and she just did a really lovely picture for her, and we went to her house to leave it. And At some point we were just hearing this police car passing by, and just with a megaphone and saying, like, "Don't leave your house. You
Wow.
can't leave your houses. This is really serious. This can bring some deaths to your family, to your neighbors. So we are serious about that. If not, you will get the fine." And it was just really scary messages. And I am with my two children on the street, and they're like, "What's that? What's that message?" And I'm just feeling like, why they are doing this? It's just like on top of this lockdown and this isolation that people are, and they are really terrified. And I can't imagine. I really can't imagine how people without Jesus can feel at the moment, because it's like I was trying to put myself in the life of others, and of course, some people are calling me and they are not Christians, and I know they are terrified. And on top of it, there is this police car just passing by and just really terrifying people. And I'm just like, I am not going to put this fear on my children, because Sarah was just really terrified, and then Daniel as well. Like, what's going on? And then I came back home, and I said, "Guys, let's pray. Let's pray for those people that they don't have hope." And I got this verse from Jeremiah 29:11. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." And it was really a strong message for me from God, that it's just amazing. I don't know how you feel, but every time I read the passage, when I just open my Bible, just this words of wisdom, like this words straight from God's heart, are coming. And at this point, I just knew that this is for all of us, that God wants the best things. We shouldn't be terrified. We shouldn't just give food to the fear, but we just need to really look for the hope that we
Yeah.
have in Jesus, and that we have in him this hope. We have this eternal life in him, and this is what we need to share. So I started yesterday the Bible study that I told you about last week, and it was incredible. 6 girls, very young girls, and with a lot of questions. Like one girl, she's under 18, and she can't even leave the house by herself at the moment. She lives by herself. So I invited her to stay with us during the Easter time as well. So I just really feel like people need to hear that. People need to hear this. This is straight from the Lord. He has
Yeah.
plans to prosper
Yeah.
you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. So this is something that I want to really share with you guys, that it's just really, let's stick to the word of God, and let's stick. And especially in this time before Easter, I think it's a very special time to really listen and seek him with
Yeah.
our whole heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that um it's easy for us to talk about like hope because we we know Jesus, and of course we know that it is the truth. So that's why it's so easy for us to say like we have hope, because we know that Jesus has a purpose and a plan for our life. But like you're saying, there's a lot of people who don't know Jesus, and they're just spiraling outside in their houses about like what is the point. They maybe don't have a job. And I just feel like what a privilege it is that we know Jesus, what a privilege it is that we aren't confused. Even if we're feeling confusion, we are not at the root of our souls confused about what the purpose of our life is. And I do a Bible study fellowship. Is international, so some people might know it, and we don't do it topically, we do it through books of the Bible. So we're in Acts this year, and they've kind of done some offshoots into different books of the Bible based on like timelines. And so we did a little offshoot in First Corinthians like 3 weeks ago, but I was a little bit behind because of the coronavirus and just all that's going on. And so this week the Bible study was on the resurrection of Jesus, and I just was so, I love when God puts these things in your heart. Like I was so in awe of the idea that I have hope because of the resurrection of Christ. And then I was just thinking about how timely it is, like you were saying, Ania, with Easter, that I don't have to fear, and I can have hope, and I can walk out my hope because Jesus did not stay dead. We are not worshiping a wise man. We are worshiping somebody. We are worshiping an eternal God who died and came back to life, and he offers us that life. And it might sound, I know it's not simple, but it might sound simple, but I have really been appreciating how present God is if you ask him to be present in your life. And I don't do it right all the time. And honestly, my kids I have a lot of distractions, and I shouldn't just blame them, but I have a lot of reasons why I'm distracted, and a lot of them are my own fault, but I've had less distraction right now. And I don't know, I've just been really just kind of pondering and meditating and soaking in that idea that Jesus is alive because of his resurrection, and how can I be more intentional about living out my life with that knowledge that he died for me. And I know a lot of times I walk through this Easter season, like through Lent and then Easter, Palms, you know the order, and I don't even think about like what God has done for me in this time. And so I've been like appreciative of this chance to slow down and really consider what that really means. And I think I miss it a lot. I miss the glory of what Easter really is, because my brain is moving too fast.
Yeah. I mean, and Jodi, I can bring you in on this, but I mean, I can't even imagine, like, how do you cope with this? You know, our fragility has become so visceral, it's become so frontal, and no one can really deny it now, you know, even on a psychological level. What's interesting though, and I was thinking about this the other day, is that as this progresses, there's a weird sort of transition psychologically where you go from sort of shocked to it becomes kind of normal in a weird sort of way. And yet there's this nagging fear as well. And so Jodi, how do we like, what can we learn through this? How do we maintain that awareness of our hope in Jesus? And what should this do to us in terms of understanding the people around us that don't have that hope? How should this impress kind of a perspective on us that, man, I need to be grateful for this. I need to anchor into this. And I also need to be compassionate for those that I can't imagine how they're coping when it's this hard for me.
Yeah. I think that for me, it's, I have such a heart for the people around me, that, you know, just the extended people around me. And it's I think about that all the time. And it's to be honest, the way it's affected me is I feel like I have just a broken heart. And I don't know if I'm emotional about myself, because I've looked at my foundations, you know, that I built over the years, and the promises that God has brought me are sustaining me. But I have such a heart for, you know, I mean, I just can't even imagine people say families that have kids home, and when they don't have that solid foundation where you can lean in on Jesus and say, I need help, I need patience for my kids, or I need just the ability to walk through this and not fall apart. I I just it just breaks my heart. I guess so that for me, that's how it affects me. I feel okay because I've got that hope that you girls were talking about. I've got that hope in
Mm.
Jesus, and it truly is. And we can talk about this later, but sustaining me, just making me steady.
Yeah.
Even though I have moments. My goodness, I do not want to act like I don't have moments of what is going
Yeah.
on.
Mhm.
What is with this
I
chaos? Yeah.
seriously, but it's broken my heart for the people around me, and
Yeah.
I want it to be like that.
Anya, do
Mm.
you? I think one thing that's interesting, and I can bring you in on this, Anya, is about the cross. Is that religion isn't working at a time like this, right? I think this has
Yeah.
exposed how flawed and false just sort of this veneer, this religious veneer, this cultural Christianity is, because truthfully, it's propped up by circumstances, and this has stripped away a lot of that. And why the cross is such a critical thing to focus on, and why it's the central part of our faith, is that it's hope through suffering. It's not hope
Mm.
from suffering or hope from never suffering. It's
Yeah.
in the hardest of suffering, there is hope in that. And so isn't that what
Yeah.
makes the cross so amazing right now? Is that we're not saying,
Yeah.
oh, well, I don't know how to explain this. We're saying, yeah, life is hard. There is suffering, but there's hope through suffering. Isn't that what makes the cross such a powerful
Mhm,
symbol for people?
mhm.
Yeah. I think this is the most beautiful message that we can give at this time. It's always the most beautiful, but at this times it's like people actually um I'm always afraid. I have to really think it through because I looking at the map, really I just see this really these powerful countries that they were broken, and I know this is like I said this before, but I really want to, like, the cross is just like calling people, like crying to people, like saying like this is what is suffering, this is what is life about. I can give you freedom in this, but you need to repent, you need to be before Jesus and just really be on the knees before me, because this is it's just there is no other way. And like Courtney, you said, like our brains, because we are just running, this is our life, we are running, we are not thinking. The most important is just materialism, like what I eat, what I have, and everything, just like the run every day. And this is when we can stop and say, wow, this is really, we have suffering around us, this can actually, it's touching us very close by, like, some people really suffer at this time. And it's just, and this is what we can, with what we can give to people, this hope and this
Yeah.
freedom in Jesus, that that he already took it. He didn't say, that we won't suffer. He didn't say, like some
Mm.
people are saying, you won't be sick, we will be free because we are Christians. No, I know we can get sick. I'm getting sick very often even. So I'm just like, I know, but the thing is, what cross is giving me is just like, I know that Jesus did it and it's just working in me, and I know that it can work in people's life. And I know the sacrifice, I know the price, and through this I can have freedom. And I know where I'm going. And I really, what Jodi said, I is like, I am praying and I'm crying for people that they don't know Jesus, they don't know cross, the meaning of the cross. This is really this is the time, this is really the
Yeah.
time for people to really think through this. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I just say one thing in there is that, the thing is that's true for us who follow Jesus is that we've realized we can't do it on our own. That's not how we were created to be, is to go through something like this or go through life in general alone, trying to do it in our own strength. And the the power or the relief it is to realize that we have that we have a creator that wants to walk with us and show us how to live and love us through it. It's just we can't try to do it on our own, and that's what that coming to Jesus is we turn away from trying to be our own God and trying to do everything on our own, and we turn to the very person that has created us, that can show us the way how to get through this.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that Ben and I have had some like interesting things happen to us this week in our current house situations. We have 2 residents right now, so that's a blessing, but it's been a little bit chaotic.
Our house is under renovation. We're the really smart people that decided to renovate our house right as the crisis came. It's like, it's like
But
buying
that's not
stocks
the,
and
that's,
cruise
that's
ships.
actually fine. But then the house we're staying at, a pipe burst this week. Anyways, it's just been a lot. In a normal life, like that would be a lot, and people would be like, yeah, that's a lot to deal with. But in a circumstance like this, when everybody's dealing with a lot of really difficult things, and I personally, one of my good friends had delivered a baby 3 weeks ago, and they knew that this baby, that she was going to have some severe health issues. And so she's basically fighting for her life right now. And she's 22 days in the ICU. And my friends I think they don't even have like a realization. They obviously, there is consequences of coronavirus because they can only have certain people at the hospital, but they're living in their own world of just like fighting for their daughter's life. And so when all these, like, when I'm feeling like, oh, this world is taking me down with all this virus stuff and then this house stuff, I just feel like I'm so thankful that I serve a God who is so gentle with me and so reliable, because he's just time and time again being like, you're okay. Like your problems are real. It's not that my problems don't count, because they 100% count. But at the end of the day, I am good. And I am so thankful that in this whole circumstance, I feel like God has given me opportunity to stay grounded when I feel like I'm like, I was very stressed out this one night. We had these things just kind of collide and it was really bad. And I'm just like freaking out. And then I am just praying for my friend, and I'm like thinking, you know what? I have nothing. Like I have nothing. And they're grounding their faith and their walk with their daughter in their faith and their hope in Jesus, and that he will be with them through the suffering, no matter what that means for their lives. And it's such a honoring, like it's such an honor to watch them walk through that. And then it's just for me, like I need to play my part and being a good steward of the good things I have in my life.
There's a book I've been reading that I highly recommend. It's called Renovation of the Heart by Dallas Willard. And I've been, every chapter, I'm just like, yes, this is so good. But one thing he talks about is that you can't control your feelings always, but you can control your thoughts in the sense, and you have to understand that you've got to like control your thoughts, and they will pull the feelings, because feelings are hard, right? You wake up one day and you feel great, you feel confident, and then the next day you feel like, oh, am I going to get sick? And your throat starts to feel tight, and you worry about your kids, and you worry about the people in your life that are vulnerable. And so I think at a time like this, like you were saying, it's about saying, I can't control how I feel always. I'm human. Emotions are part of the human experience. But I'm really going to control, or try to control with the Lord's help, my thoughts. That's why Paul talks about taking every thought captive. That's why it's so important. Another thing he said in a part I read this morning is there is no neutral content. So whatever you're consuming is producing good or evil. There's no neutral content. And we've talked about that on this podcast before, and people often justify it, but you really got to guard what's going in your mind right now, because we are at a time where I think all of us are more psychologically fragile, and we need to just be careful. We need to be careful what we're allowing into our minds, that more than ever, we're focusing on pure things, on lovely things, on beautiful things, that we're not just filling ourselves with mindless entertainment, all the news channels that are incentivized to just create fear, honestly, and are just every minute reporting the numbers and the deaths and the chaos. And it's like, we all know that's real and suffering is real, but don't you guys agree? I mean, now more than ever, Jodi, what do you think? I mean, we have to control our thoughts, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the other girls, I could say it, but I think one of the other girls should have say something about that. Ania
Anya,
will
Polish
add.
wisdom. 3, 2, 1, base.
Um, to be honest, I really I stopped watching news. I stopped watching. I know that it's not something that I am just I don't care. I really care, and I have like only one website open just to see the map, how just to see which countries are already infected, and to pray for them. But the thing is that I have people calling me every day with different thoughts and different things. And I said, okay, I'm not going to feed my brain, feed my heart with these things, because of course it's the times are really difficult. I know. It's just like my mom today, she's my news report, because she always calls me and she tells me like today, for example, just the hospital, unfortunately, that is very close to the hospital that was only for coronavirus, closed up, but it's oncology hospital, and doctors, they work on both hospitals because they started to get sick, and they have to swap. And of course, three patients from the hospital oncology hospital, they got sick, and this is really scary. This is something that is very difficult, because my one of my friends, she just recovered from the cancer, and she's supposed to go and do the test there, and now it's just totally closed, the hospital, for the patients to come from outside. But I'm just feeling like this is what my mom, she is watching the news, she's looking what's happening, and she is terrified, because the news are terrifying. It's not good news. I didn't get any good news for a long time from from media. So that's why I just decided I'm not going to watch it, I'm not going to think about that. My day starts that I'm just getting up, I'm giving breakfast to my children, I take my Bible, and we have really
Hey,
lovely
Anya, is Luke
yes.
considered one of your children? I mean, just in terms of breakfast,
Yeah.
No,
or does he
actually,
not get breakfast? No breakfast for you.
oh no, he loves breakfast. This is our favorite meal, so we
We
do.
can tell.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's why I said this is what I'm going to feed me, my family, with this informations, like like let's read the Bible, let's pray together, let's be for each other. Our team is just like we worship together. So this is what gives me energy and this hope for the whole day. This is what
Mhm.
really keeps me going. This is what really take the stress and everything. And sometimes I a little bit, I feel like I'm in the bubble, but I feel like I don't care. I'm just giving this to God, and just use me. And I want to be for those people that they're calling me, sending me messages. I want to be this hope. I want to be good thought that will give them a hope in the heart, not like feeding this fear and this this things that are so dangerous for their heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to add this. I think that we all really want to be strong for the people outside of us, or the family, like Anya, you were talking about. And I think one of the things is I feel this really, really strongly, that we need to allow ourselves to be human, to be a child of God, where we take some time and control, because it is true, we just have so much stuff coming at us if we listen to the news. And it's just to get away and to do something simple, something fun, something, so it kind of brings you back to, okay, I can focus on who I believe in, and what that means to me in a situation like that. But I feel like we need to be able to just, no, I'm going to control what comes at me. I'm going to just simply, purely enjoy something. And I think that's part of being in the image of God, is that He wants us to
Mm.
remember, even in the midst of a crazy situation, I'm going to give you this just pure joy, just this thing to experience, so that you can then come back to me and go, okay, let's look at some of this other stuff again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's a
Mm,
quantity problem too, right? It's not just a
Mhm.
quality problem. It's not, okay, I'm going to watch
mm.
less bad news and just watch a bunch of other nonsense. I think
Right.
we really need to, and I'm saying this to myself, like,
Well, I would just say that Ben reprimanded me last week for reading news articles, and he was like, "You need to stop reading the news." So I listened, and I haven't read it for like a week, and then he's like reading it every 10 minutes. I'm like, "You are such a hypocrite." I
it's,
listened to the wisdom, and I thought, "Yeah, you're right. It's true." Knowing the numbers of cases in Minnesota is not helping me. It is not making me better. It's not making me calmer and more at peace. It's making me anxious. And then this ding dong just kept reading it.
ding dong. Well, I never. It's Mr.
That's
Ding
a
Dong to
problem.
you.
Which is
Oh, it's
interesting.
lovely to have you both here. This is amazing. Like,
I have not
I was waiting for this time.
I have not been called ding dong for at least 6 to 10 minutes.
But
So I don't appreciate that.
but I just what you guys did is so normal. I mean, it's just, of course, you're living and just having to be with each other under these circumstances is so normal. And so you have to be able to, that's what I kind of mean is following Jesus. Isn't this like we're machines? We don't have any bad attitudes.
Yeah.
We don't have
Yeah.
any hypocrisy in our life,
Mm.
where we just say don't listen to the news and then we go
Yeah.
in a corner and listen to it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
normal. It's normal.
Yeah.
I got to stay informed. I talk for
Yeah,
a living.
he goes, it's for the podcast. I was like, I'm pretty sure you can like find out information to talk on the podcast. That's not about COVID-19 statistics, for the goodness sakes. Okay.
It's- yeah. And again, as I said before,
You
it's
forgot the period, and it's a capital M.
it's Mr. Ding Dong.
Yes,
Well, I
yes.
wouldn't be Mr. Ding Dong if I spelled it right, would I? Oh man, as Maureen says, why is Maureen not on this podcast? There's a beacon of wisdom. Not Denny though. That guy, man, he is not worthy to carry her boots. Anyway, no, it's true. I really do think that we need to contain the flow of information and be disciplined. Again, I will say it publicly. I will say it. So I'm going to fast for a few days this weekend because in a weird sort of way, I've kind of reacted to this crisis by going into overdrive and like, okay, what can I do and what can I solve? And I think, again, I've said that many times over the last few weeks on this podcast, we have to be more intentional with our routines, more intentional with our relationship with God, more, if we were trying to be patient with our spouses before, we need to try to be even more patient now. I mean, I've been doing lots of workouts, just working on my fitness. I'm looking good. You can't tell under all these baggy
Trust me,
clothes,
he
but I'm
doesn't
like,
need any encouragement.
I'm like one of
friends.
those guys from 300, just shredding. But anyway, so that's all I got.
Wow, Ben. Wow.
I have Dad doing these girl exercises with me, and he's really getting strong.
That's good. It's good for your lean muscle mass.
I know.
All right,
And he's okay.
this is de-escalating. Jodi, do you have any sort of closing parting thoughts? They can be pithy, wise, full of grit and vinegar, whatever you want. You're my mother after all.
Yes. Well, I guess what I would just want to leave you with, and I'm going to try to make this really short. Private world. Something that has sustained me is building this private world with Jesus, just him and I. And I just really grab one, promises that he has throughout the Bible, and I just really try to apply it to my life. I hate the idea of not of just having a bunch of facts about the Bible in my head and then not applying them. So when it says he will never forsake me, I think about that. He will never leave me. I think about that and meditate on that and say, okay, in that situation, when I had that difficult time with that, say, that relationship, to watch it and see, did I feel like Jesus was with me, and practicing that and just knowing, okay, he is there. And so then in a time like this, as you've built over time, he is there, and you can really depend on that and know that he will come through for you. So build that private world. We can't go to our churches. Most of us probably can't go to our churches, but that doesn't mean that you can't just just spend time with Jesus, and it's good. It's just him and you, and I've never wanted to depend on anybody else. If you should never blame your pastor and say, I'm not growing spiritually because of my pastor or my church. That's nonsense. You have full ability to study and spend time alone with Jesus, which is really where the strong gold comes from. And you can really see that he is who he says he is.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, this is a great conversation. And this is where community is important. And I know we're all sick of Zoom. We're all sick of the internet and everything. And we were talking about that on our podcast with Shane. Like, it's like the whole world was addicted to the internet. And it's almost like we were like, all right, this is what you want. This is all you're going to get. So good luck. And I think it's really emphasizing to all of us, like when this like lifts, we need to like put that on a shelf and give it its proper place, because it is no substitute for being able to see real people. And it's tragic that it's been reduced to this. And if this is what life was, like that would not be great. So anyway, ladies' night during the day, awesome as usual. So schedule for next week. We've got a clinical psychologist coming on by the name of Todd, and I'm forgetting his last name. I want to say Riggs. Where am I getting that? I don't know. But anyway, we're going to be talking about depression, anxiety from a clinical psychological perspective. I think that's really, really important. Wednesday, we're going to have first the dudes for an hour, then the ladies. It's on a Wednesday. So ladies' night on a Wednesday, 2 p.m. Central Time. And then on Friday, we're having Pastor Neil Rich. He's my pastor for my local church, really anointed man of God. And we're going to talk about the idea of what can the church learn from this? And has church become too much of a destination for people? Is there something actually healthy in a sense about people taking ownership of their spiritual lives? Of course, not as a replacement for the local church, but it's going to be really interesting to hear pastor's perspective on that.
Unfortunately, he's also just as weird as Ben. So it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a greit's time.
I was like, it's gonna be scary.
Skadoosh! Yeah. So again, here's what we need from you people. We need you to help us out and share it. Come on now. Like with all this stuff, I know we're like, don't listen to content, but listen to this. But no, this is edifying. This is uplifting. The humor lifts the spirits and nourishes the soul. Go and search Provoke and Inspire anywhere, everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, etc. Google it. Subscribe. Leave us a rating. Leave us a review. Also, you can join the Hope Beyond Fear movement. Hope Beyond Fear. This is something we've started in a way to encourage people. It started as cardboard signs, people writing things that were encouraging, reflecting their hope in Jesus and inspiring others to do the same on Instagram and Facebook. But it's since morphed into really, if you want to write a message or a note or make a video or anything that leads people to Jesus and helps them understand where our true hope comes from, that is what we want. This isn't just about, this isn't Steiger. This is a worldwide thing. We want to point people to Jesus with this hashtag Hope Beyond Fear. So please help us do that. Otherwise, ladies, this has been lovely. It's just been lovely.
And Ben, you've done a good job. You did.
Yes.
Yes.
Well done, Ben.
Good.
The woman in the beanie has done a great job.
The woman in the beanie. Some people call me Suzanne. Sorry, as the first name that came to my head. I know that's a friend of yours. This is embarrassing now for both of us. I do my best. And you know what? I absorb all compliments like a sponge. I just soak them in and I just radiate them out to the world that needs them so.
Oh, man.
Anyway, Provoke and Inspire podcast, ladies' night during the day. This audio will come out tomorrow. Share it with your friends. Put it on menus. We'll talk to you next time. Hold on. I got to get this thing. We're going to play this again because it was too good and I missed it the first time. Here we go.
Where do you come from? You're listening to Ladies Night on the Provoke and Inspire podcast.